Welcome to the Ecomm Breakthrough Podcast. Are you ready to unlock the full potential and growth in your business? You've already crossed 7 figures in sales, but the challenge is knowing how to take your business to the next level. Join Josh Hadley, an 8-figure Ecomm business owner and investor, as he interviews highly successful business owners. Get ready, because you're going to learn specific actions you can take today to help your business reach its full potential and leave a lasting impact on the world.
Welcome to the Ecomm Breakthrough Podcast. I'm your host, Josh Hadley, where I interview the top business leaders in e-commerce. Previous guests include Kevin King, Stephen Pope, and Roland Frazier. Today, I'm speaking with Mark Casey, CEO of House of AMZ, and we're going to be talking a lot about launching new products, product optimization, and driving some external traffic. This episode is brought to you by Ecomm Breakthrough Consulting, where I help 7-figure companies grow to 8 figures and beyond. If you've hit a plateau and want to know the next steps to take your business to the next level, then go to ecommbreakthrough.com. That's Ecomm with 2 M's to learn more. Today, I'm excited to introduce you to Mark Casey. For the past 7 years, Mark has studied the Amazon algorithm to understand how it works and how we can work along with it to rank products. He has traveled the world to speak and share these techniques with the largest sellers worldwide. Mark's personal background is marketing and branding, having brands of his own, along with his Amazon knowledge, working under the 9-figure brand. Combining those together is how House of AMZ was born. Where Mark can help is to optimize your products and brand, not only for the outside world, but mainly on Amazon, which is its own ecosystem in itself. So welcome to the podcast, Mark.
Thank you very much. Yeah, good morning. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thanks again for joining me. And I apologize for my voice, both to the listeners and to yourself. I lost my voice coaching hockey practice and yelling, shouting at the kids because there's multiple teams on the ice. So you have to speak relatively loud, and it did my voice in, that's for sure. So I apologize about that.
Oh, good. Yeah, no worries.
But Mark, I'm super excited to have you on the podcast. We met at the Sell and Scale Summit put on by Helium 10 about a month ago, and you spoke on stage. I think you were only given about 10 or 15 minutes at best. And the amount of knowledge that you shared in those 10 to 15 minutes was unreal. I took down a lot of notes, and I'm sure you could dive in a little bit deeper on each of those topics. And so that's why I wanted to bring you on the podcast, share your wealth of knowledge with our audience who are established sellers, right? They've already been doing 7 figures. They're looking to go to 8 figures and beyond. And so I want to get into like detailed strategies, things that people can implement today to improve their rankings on Amazon and, you know, continue to scale their business further. So, Mark, tell me kind of how you got into the Amazon world. You've been studying the algorithm, you know, for quite a while now. Tell me how you got interested in that in your journey up to this point.
Yeah, 100%. Well, first of all, it makes me comfortable that you said that people are established sellers who are listeners, because oftentimes I give a lot of different seminar speeches or podcasts where people are questioning, like, what's the honeymoon period? And I'm usually speaking at things that are like past that stage. So it makes me very comfortable, and I hope to share a lot of fun and cool things today. My background, so I've always done marketing, branding. I've always been in the business world. But I started working with someone in the health and beauty space, and I've helped them with all their marketing and branding kind of to build the brand up. So they offered me a position to work their Amazon. And this was like, I would say closer to 8 years ago, where it was like Amazon wasn't what it is now. So I'm like, no, what's this Amazon thing? So I declined. And then they pushed me again to do this Amazon. You know, I thought of it as like a gig. I'm like, okay, what's this, you know? So I pushed myself and I ended up doing it. And I did a little bit here, did a little bit there, started researching and understanding what it is. And then ever since then, that kind of like blew up from there. They were doing also, I would say maybe like 7 or 8 million on Amazon. Fast forward till today, they're doing over 100 million. They're in Rite Aid, they're in CVS and Target. Yeah. So I really took the time to understand, hey, what's Amazon looking for? I want to understand the algorithm to kind of feed it and understand it. And if you're hitting the right points, then Amazon's going to reward you for that. So I took the time to actually understand it, and then kind of blend that together with my marketing knowledge and combine the two. And that's kind of what we do now is like, create and design listings, but according to the Amazon SEO and algorithm kind of rule book. So that's the idea. That's kind of my background. So whenever I give like tips and tricks, it's coming from that point of view rather than like, just do A, B, and C and, like something basic.
Yeah, that's fascinating background, Mark. And it sounds like you have a lot of experience. So how did you get into, creating House of AMZ and, sharing your tactics and helping other brands scale up then?
Sure. So it's funny. So like I always done things like on my own. I have my own brands that I work with, which are off Amazon, surprisingly. But I never even thought of running an agency, to be honest with you. But a lot of people saw like, my ideas and my work, and they asked me to like, hey, can you help me out too? Can you help me out too? And before you know it, we're working with like real large companies like such as like Clorox, Levi's, Dickies, like real brands that, consulted with me on like different tactics and strategies on how to help them with their Amazon business. When I was very surprised about that. So as time came along and it really became like a full-time type of thing, I still have my businesses running, but, we started growing it. And I usually don't get up and just speak. I'm a people's person and I love networking with people, but if you ask me to just get up on a stage, back then I would never have done it. So someone asked me, hey, we're throwing this Amazon like kind of meetup. There should be 40 people there. You want to get up and just share some ideas? And I was like very hesitant about it. I ended up pushing myself and doing it. I show up to the room and everyone heard like, who's this guy? Because I've been hearing about him. There was like 120 people in this small little room. And I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do now? And I always look back to that speech and I laugh, but it was fun. It was one of my first. I didn't know what in the world I was doing in regards to speaking. And all these people who I didn't know. But nowadays, I just get up and speak, and I love it. It's fun, and this is kind of my passion and what I do. So in short, that's kind of how our agency came to life, is because I have my marketing background, and then I got all this Amazon knowledge, and we combined it together, and we really deliver just, listings that really work and things that convert. And we include all our tactics, ideas, and like, everything, strategies into the work we deliver.
Yeah. That's fascinating. And you do such a good job speaking. So I think your skills have, I think you're very confident on the stage now, so to speak. So Mark, you've studied the algorithm for 7 years. I would argue you would consider yourself an expert when it comes to ranking products on Amazon. So tell us, can you break down the Amazon algorithm to our listeners and tell us what you are seeing that Amazon cares about when it comes to ranking products today?
So if you have another 6 hours, I could go in depth. No, but so yeah, there's a lot. First of all, a lot of things change within the Amazon algorithm. Many things. Like it's always changing, evolving, and growing, and there's so much to it. But what I always like to break it down and explain to people in a very simple way is that every little thing that the shopper does, Amazon takes into account. And what that means is every little thing, from how you clicked and how you even got to Amazon, backing up all the way there, how you got to Amazon, what keyword you search when you got there, how long, like every little point in detail. So we really broke it down and saw, okay, so someone goes on a listing onto Amazon. Where do they come from? Do they come from a Facebook ad? Do they come from a referral from, let's say, WhatsApp, from their friend? And then once they're on Amazon, what keyword did they type in? Once they typed in the keyword, how long were they on the results page for? Once they're on the results page, what listings did they click? So, meaning, did they just click on yours and others? Did they go on others and then yours? Or was it just yours? Now when on the listing, right? So let's say I type in sports water bottle and I click on your listing. Now, how long are you on the listing for? Is it just you saw it and you added it to cart right away and you're done? It was an instant purchase? Or was it something that you engaged with the listing? So Amazon looks, if they engage with the listing and they looked at the reviews and the pictures and they really invested 5 minutes on your listing to look at it and do everything and added it to cart, that's where you're going to get the success, because Amazon sees that you really invested time. So all these small little details is what Amazon takes into account with their algorithm and that's what gives you kind of like the power. But there's obviously a lot more to it, but just to break it down for you on kind of what it insists.
Yeah, I love that. And Mark, I've also heard from another seller that was previously on the podcast that Amazon is even factoring in how many products you've launched or released on Amazon recently. Is that something that you've heard of and could vouch for that's true? Like Amazon wants you bringing new stuff to the platform regularly?
To be honest, I can't vouch for it because I haven't seen any data, but I was actually sitting with someone yesterday and he was telling me, he's like, we have like free products, but we need to launch more. We need to show that we have more. And so, I think it does take something into account, and Amazon sees also, they see that you're not just a one-man band, like just to launch one product and that's it. Like they want to see that you're more of an official store and you're keeping up to date. I don't know if it directly impacts it, to be honest, but I can see where, yes.
Awesome. Okay. So Mark, what I would love to dive into now then is, let's say I've got a brand new product that I want to launch on Amazon. What are some of the tactics, best practices that you would encourage anybody to do? And maybe some of the special sauce that you add with House of AMZ to launch a brand new product. Then after that, we'll talk about how do we relaunch maybe an old product that's been on there for a couple years, rankings have fallen off. But let's start first with a brand new product, no history on Amazon. What are the first steps and what are some of the most important things to be focused on, Mark?
So this is one of the top questions I get all the time, and it's hard because 5 years ago, you couldn't pay a reviewer to leave a review and you could get 50 reviews within 2 days with no problem. Nowadays, it's really hard. It's really, really hard because, so taking into account the honeymoon, there's so much that goes involved into that. And then you also want your reviews at the same time. So now imagine you're launching a product, it hits FBA, your honeymoon period is starting, and then you have no reviews. So you spend the first 2 or 3 weeks pushing it through either through Vine or through PPC and through everything. By the time your reviews come in, you already kind of lost that honeymoon period. And now you're just like any other Joe Schmo who's just on the Amazon search, results. So it's really, really hard nowadays. And because it's a catch-22, you need reviews in order to sell well. In order to sell well, you need, so it's really hard. Yeah. An idea I came up with, and I mentioned this by my speech. I'm not sure if you were able to catch up on it because I was really shooting a lot of information over there. One idea I came up with is that launch your product FBM, right? So what we've done research that the honeymoon period really takes into account once it hits FBA. So that's really when the day hits FBA, that's when you have to hit the ground running. So launch your product FBM, use some PPC, push it here and there, do your friends and family, whichever way you want, get 5 or 10 reviews. Once you have 5 or 10 reviews, now ship it to FBA, and then you're getting your full honeymoon period with 5 or 10 5-star reviews, which is amazing and unheard of, because now you can hit the ground running. You have a whole bunch of reviews and you're fresh. You have a fresh start, and it's really magical and crazy on how that could work. So that's kind of the idea that what I would do personally when it comes to launching a product now in 2023.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you do? Tell me more about that in regards to PPC. Do you see PPC being a big component then when you are launching, and why?
Yeah, 100%. So Amazon, first of all, they want your money. Just to keep it short and simple, they want to see that you're spending money, and then they give you more placement. Whether you like it or not, that's really the truth. Besides that, it does collect a lot of data and a lot of keyword data that could show Amazon. Really, the honeymoon period, everyone has different ideas on what it is and what it isn't. It's really a time where Amazon's collecting data on your listing. So they're going to show you more. They're going to give you the benefit of the doubt, so to speak, to put you in the front and say, hey, when we put it on the front page for this keyword, is it converting? Is it not? So that's when it's collecting data. So that's why you want to be really careful on launching it the right way and not just putting it in. We have a lot of times people say, I'm just going to launch my product with white background images, no graphics, no anything whatsoever. And then once it picks up, I'll invest money. And I'm like, dude, that's the biggest mistake you can possibly do, is because within those first 30 days, that's when Amazon's collecting all your data. if you're just getting clicks with no conversions, that's really going to kill your listing in this instant, because Amazon wants to see that you're at least getting the clicks. At least you're getting something. And if your listing isn't good and it's not converting, you're really going to kill your listing.
Yeah. So is that a component then when you're running PPC campaigns that you're evaluating the conversion rate from those? And what does a good conversion rate look like then?
Honestly, I don't have a set number because people ask me all the time and I don't know. And we don't even do PPC, but what I could tell you, it's a very big factor. And even if you're just doing a little bit PPC a day, just to show Amazon, like, A, you're spending, and B, like, you just have some kind of like movement there. That's important. But also my main idea for running PPC is so you could pick up organic sales, and then through those organic sales, you could hopefully get some reviews out of it. That was my idea whenever I say PPC. Okay.
Yeah. Fascinating. That makes sense. Let's go back to, you mentioned launching your product first via FBM, and that you're saying that the honeymoon period doesn't really start until it goes into FBA. Yeah. So my question with that is, I guess you have data to back that up. Is that true?
Yeah, we've tested it out, and we've saw that once it hits FBA and it's available to be shipped, then that's when Amazon's going to start pushing your listing. Right now, if it's FBM, they're not going to push your listing. They want to show the results, which are the people that they can click and order right now, and it's going to get to them in 2 days or less.
Okay. So when you launch via FBM, is your conversion rate lower during that time because people aren't able to get their product in 2 days, right?
Probably would be lower, yes, because everyone looks for that Prime badge where they can just order and get it. You get spoiled. Even me, like, I get spoiled. Like, whenever I see something's even like 3-day shipping now from like a regular website as opposed to Amazon, like, you're like, no, I want it in 2 days,
Yep. So, but you're saying that Amazon disregards all of the FBM data, right? So if you're live on FBM for, let's say, 2 to 3 weeks, and then you go to FBA, you're saying that Amazon isn't looking at that historical data where you do have a lower conversion rate.
Not as much. I would say the main thing, like what we've seen, is like once it hits FBA, that's when we see the honeymoon kind of take into effect. That's what we've seen. Again, there's no real data. There's no like something Amazon comes in and even says. I don't even think Amazon even talks about the honeymoon period. This is all things that people kind of put together. So there's no set data. But based on our experience, we've seen that once it hits FBA, that's kind of the golden time, that we've seen.
Okay, that makes sense. So why don't you share maybe a couple case studies of brands that you've worked with or products? You don't have to share specific names, but people that came to you guys, they wanted to launch a new product. Tell us about the process you walked them through and what were the results that people saw.
For sure. So there are a lot of different, for every category, we always come up with a different strategy, based on it being competitive and not competitive. I'm trying to think like which one specifically that I could think on top of my mind. Or for example, the supplement brand. Some supplements could be really competitive, but and I always say when it comes to supplements, once you do your marketing and your branding and you have the right strategy, then you can be really good, in that kind of field. So they approached us with a brand new product. It was, I don't know if I should say exactly because I respect their privacy, but it was a supplement which was in a pretty competitive field, but they had a more premium version of it. So, well, first of all, it's harder because they wanted to charge a lot more than everyone else. So what my idea is to really go strong on the graphics, on the infographics, A+ content, to kind of display that this is a more premium product and explain why. So we've done a very good job at doing that because we've gotten feedback from regular shoppers and regular people. So just to add in, one of the things that I've created back when I worked at the other company, and I still have it now, is a shopper network, right? So whenever we want to do a launch, we have a whole network of people where we can tell them, hey, buy this product, and then they'll buy it, and then we'll reimburse them or whatnot. So part of having that network was really, really like big for us, where we can go back to them and ask them for feedback based on what they think. So it's kind of the same idea as PickFu, and we even use PickFu now, but like even before PickFu kind of became a thing, and I was just doing this on like, hey, which image do you think is better? Which one would you click on and why? So that's the idea. So kind of going back to the case study, so we've done a lot of research and kind of launched it the right way, where we brought this product to market And really have to educate the consumer. So we went really strong in the graphics, displaying that properly, even the main image and whatnot. And then we started with a lot of outside traffic. And that's a whole nother discussion which we could have, which is what Amazon looks for nowadays is 100% outside traffic. So our approach was to do whatever I mentioned before, is to gather a couple of reviews, also through Vine and whatnot. Once the reviews were there, we really hit the ground running, generating sales, showing Amazon consistency that every day we're getting sales with specific keywords and building that up. So many people have this idea of doing 300 giveaways within 8 days, and they think it's going to launch your product. Amazon's not stupid. Amazon knows that within 8 days you're selling 300 products, and then day 9 you're selling 20. That doesn't make sense. What we did was more of an organic approach that was more long term, and this is kind of what we do for launches now. Is we do more of like a 15 or 30 day kind of idea where every day we're doing 5 to 10 pieces, but we're doing that for 30 days in a row. So Amazon sees a consistency. So let's say with this product, it's obviously not a collagen, but let's say we do collagen. So we want to kind of target those keywords. So we will do 5 sales a day with the, that keyword collagen. And then every single day for 30 days. And then Amazon sees kind of that consistency. And it's not that it was just for 8 days and then you got your little, time to shine and then you're going back down. So that was one of the big things, part of our strategy was doing that. And on top of that, doing outside traffic, combining it together. So Amazon sees, hey, you're getting traffic off of Amazon, it's going onto Amazon, and you're getting these conversions through these sales that we're able to generate. And both of those together, we're pumping them up all the way to the first page and actually staying there, because we thought of more of a long-term strategy as opposed to a short-term, like do this and, and like get there within a couple of days and then you fall back down.
Makes sense. So to make sure I'm clear on your strategy, you're reaching out to your shopper network to generate those 5 sales a day over, 15 to 30 days, right? So it's a prolonged, steady influx. Is that correct?
Exactly. 5 a day for 15 to 30 days at minimum. We have clients now that do it for 180 days. Like, they just keep it rolling because they see that the long term is the way to go, and not just doing a short launch and then just falling, and then that honestly just ruins your listing. Okay.
And then you're also driving external traffic separate from the shoppers list, right?
100%. Yeah, that's also what's like the cherry on top of the cake, because that works really, really well. Amazon likes it. They reward you for it.
Okay. And then your sellers are conducting their own PPC as well to kind of boost the product at that time.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm. They're doing their own PPC as well. Yeah. A lot of the times, what we found, which was really interesting, was we'll have our shoppers, usually they don't, but we'll tell them to purchase through the sponsored ad. And then Amazon sees that, first of all, it lowers your cost. And second of all, they see great results. And Amazon sees that there's a lot of conversion coming through your PPC. So that's another cool strategy, another cool idea that we've done and people see great results with.
Cool. Let's talk more about that shopper network. Now, I know Amazon came out with, they don't want rebates, right? They've been pretty clear with that in their terms of service last year. Tell me more about that, Mark, and, how do brands, kind of navigate selling to their own list, giving them promotions, but not, breaching those terms of service? And, what's been your experience with that?
So, yeah, it's been, like I said in the beginning, a lot of things have changed. Before, you were literally straight up allowed to just pay people to do things, and now you're not. So, first of all, we don't solicit any reviews at all. Our network is clean. These are people who are buying garbage bags and laundry detergent, and then they're also buying your product. So that's a huge difference. Yeah. And Amazon has the trust score for each buyer. They see if someone just, buying a whole bunch of products every single day that makes no sense, like iPhone charger and collagen and random products. They know. They know when people are just buying random products and also reviewing half of them, their trust score is very low, as opposed to people who are just buying everyday essentials and they're also buying your product. So that's the main difference, is that we're not soliciting any reviews. We're not asking them to do any shady links and, like trying to manipulate the searches. We're simply doing a sales promotion where they're just purchasing their product. We're not like pushing them to do anything shady. So at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with that. Many people do it, and you have your own. There's nothing wrong with running a promotion off of Amazon. And that's kind of what we're doing. And that's the main important part. Also, we're not just like doing, like I said before, 500 sales within a couple of days and then stopping it. We're just doing regular sales promotion. And at the end of the day, no matter what anyone wants to say, that is always going to work because nothing could compare to a real sale.
Yeah.
You can try to do many workarounds, but at the end of the day, a sale is a sale. And if you, like I said before, if you know how to touch the points on the algorithm and know what Amazon's looking for, and you're checking off all those boxes, then if you do it the right way, you're going to get great results with it.
Yeah, makes 100% sense. I'm interested in asking you, Mark, how big is that list? And the reason I ask is because for our own business, we have a list of 30,000 people that we have their email address. We also have them on our text list as well. But I like this approach of instead of, day one from launch, I reach out to all 30,000 people on our list and try to send them to our new product. Instead, maybe saying, all right, every day, I reach out to 1,000 people, right, over 30 days. And then we're generating, a few sales from those 1,000 instead of a big mass of people coming in all at once. So
exactly.
Tell me, how big is your list and like how big should people's list be in order to be able to generate 5 sales a day for 30 days plus?
For sure. So our network is over 50,000 shoppers and we're growing every single day. And that's been great. But even besides that, I always preach this, and I always say this, is so important to build your list. It's so important because you can launch for free. You can just run some random sales promotions, and you can be getting real organic sales just by that. That's A. B, Amazon sees their return shoppers, and it shows loyalty to your store, and you get credit for that too. And on top of that, you get a lot of frequently bought together, from your products and similar products. And there's really, really a lot of benefits when it comes to building.
Yeah. I mean, let's dive into that then real quick. How do you recommend brands build their list then? It's
really hard. It's really, really hard. There was one service which I discovered more recently. I've been always saying this strategy and idea to build your list. And then I found that there's a company that does it called Post Purchase Pro. I'm
nice.
Sure you heard about them. Yeah.
Yep.
So they've been really good at doing that. And in the beginning, they were doing it just for a couple of clients and they charged $10,000 a month, which even makes sense because there's so much work involved. And now I spoke with them. I'm like, hey, this is a really good idea. I've been wanting to build this myself, but you guys already built it out. So they said they're like, no problem. For anyone who works with you, we'll cut down the price, like I think $1,000 or even less than that per month. But that in itself is such a powerful tool, and I can't even stress that enough. And this is really not even a plug. This is just, you ask me, and this is really what I find to be working. And this is what I find to be that ROI positive, especially in the long run. Building a brand, not just having one product and saying, hey, this is people who will return and buy from you in the future. Yeah,
I love that. I know, I heard Post Purchase Pro speak at a recent conference as well. And so I think they'd be fun podcast guests to have on here and share some of those strategies because they call it, you need to have a mafia offer, right? Where the offer is so good that you can't pass up, joining their list to claim that free offer. And they have some great strategies. So I think that's something that we'll dive into with them, but happy to hear that you've seen success using their strategies. Mm-hmm. Let's go back to, so we've talked about our shoppers list, and let's dive into the external traffic piece now. So where are you driving the external traffic from, Mark?
So, okay, I'm going to go back to the kind of in middle of those shopper network and outside traffic, and then I'll go to outside traffic because there's one more thing I want to add.
Okay.
So another thing we did recently. So I remember I told you in the beginning that Amazon looks for when people engage with your listing and how long they're on your listing for, et cetera, et cetera. So what we did was we developed a very different strategy that works really, really well, which is kind of combining both of those together, the sales and rebates, right? Kind of the sales promotion and also having people engage with your listing. So what do? They're called survey sales. So we'll have, let's say, same idea. Let's say you need 10 people a day, 20 people a day for whatever days to purchase your product. So we'll find people who want to take a survey and we'll send them to your listing, right? They'll go on your listing, search it up, and they will engage with your listing without them even knowing it because we can ask them up to like 3 or 4, maybe even 5 questions and say, hey, tell me what you notice about this product. Whenever you search this keyword, right, who stands out to you and why? So we're able to get a lot of these feedback from them about just in general, the search results, about your listing in specific. Oh, is there anything that's not clear to you? Is there anything that is clear to you? What else do you want to know? These kind of ideas, right? So A, you're getting raw, good feedback from real shoppers who would actually purchase your product. That's A. B, which is really underrated, keep this in mind. They're going and searching for products organically on their own because they really want to figure out and answer these survey questions. On top of that, they're going to your reviews, they're going to your images, because we're asking them questions saying, hey, go on these images and tell us what you think. In the meantime, Amazon views it as they're engaging with your listing, they're engaging with your reviews and your infographics and all your kind of stuff. And the effect of that is like crazy compared to just doing sales alone. Sales alone obviously works, but now keep in mind that they're engaging with your listing. So this is something newer, which I haven't even touched upon or spoke about even recently, because we've been trying it and testing it out, and we've seen great results with it, because we're really like, that's exactly what Amazon wants to see. They want to see that someone's going, searching the results, going on the listing, engaging with it, adding it to cart, and then purchasing it, literally mimicking an organic sale, maybe even more than an average shopper. So that's been pretty crazy.
That's amazing. I've never heard about that before. So you guys are hearing it first. Mark just dropped a knowledge bomb on all of us. So, Mark, tell me more about this survey. So with this survey, are you asking them to purchase the product at the end of the day?
Yes,
talk to me more through that.
So yeah, it's the same idea as we're doing a rebate, but it's not really like a rebate. You know, we're not asking for any reviews or anything. We're asking to complete the survey, and at the end, they're going to purchase the product. So in exchange for their time, we're giving them a free product.
Okay. But a different free product, not the one that they purchased?
No, the one that they purchased.
The one that they purchased. Okay. What is this listing? So tell me can you give more details about this survey? Like, how do you approach the audience, that you're sending this to? What do you tell them so that they are like excited and yes, they want to go complete the survey? Because you're asking a lot, right?
Yeah, so some things I can't really reveal because that's our secret and special sauce.
Sure.
Nowadays surveys have become really popular. So we kind of jumped onto that trend because a lot of people see that they make money from surveys. So we've kind of jumped onto it and said, hey, this takes X amount of time. This is a survey and you'll get a free product in exchange for your time. That's kind of simply put. Obviously, some products are harder. No one wants to no one wants to give feedback on a supplement. And, some products are harder, some products are easier. But at the end of the day, this is the idea where we're having these people saying, hey, give us a couple minutes of your time and we can give you a free product in exchange. And all they're doing is answering questions like a focus group. And even besides the whole ranking and all that stuff, honestly, the feedback we've seen has been really, really good because the supplement, we implemented this for the supplement brand I spoke about earlier. Okay. And and it's for me and us that we designed the listing. I'm like, okay, this is good feedback. So one person said, does it have an aftertaste? And I was like, wow, we really touched on every point, but I forgot to mention that no, it doesn't have any aftertaste. But as an average shopper, that's what they keep in mind. But for me, we've been so involved in creating the listing, I didn't think we should maybe mention about that there's no aftertaste. So the raw data in itself is worth it. And on top of that, you're getting crazy ranking power. That's it's like explosion,
Yeah, I love that. That is a great information to share. So thanks for sharing that with our podcast. You heard it first, everybody.
The first time I spoke about it. I didn't even speak about the event or anything. This is really the first time I'm really speaking out about it.
I love it. Do you feel like there's, in terms of the terms of service with Amazon, do you feel like it's, kind of gray area, or do you feel like, no, this is a very clean strategy from your perspective?
Clean strategy. I feel like this is a very clean strategy.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. All right. Now let's go back to the external traffic then.
Yeah. So when it comes to external traffic, there's a couple of different priority levels that Amazon takes into account. So Facebook is considered cheap traffic because anyone could just run a Facebook ad. What you want to do is go after the high priority traffic, which is an example like Google Ads. I've been speaking about that for a long time and no one was able to actually implement it. But there is one main software which I really stand behind because I see it work. That kind of converts Google traffic onto Amazon where you can make Google ads and it shows that Amazon's the one advertising it. And when people search different things on Google, they click on the Amazon and it'll bring it to your either storefront or page or whatnot. And Amazon, just for getting the traffic alone, rewards you big time, especially, which is like a no-brainer. Yeah, it's a no-brainer as is, but a real big no-brainer is that Amazon gives you the 10% brand referral bonus now. So it's literally it's almost free to do such a thing, you know?
Yeah. So what is that software then that you've been using for Google Ads?
It's called AMPD. Have you ever heard of AMPD? AMPD?
We have, and we actually had Tyler Gregg on the podcast earlier. So he shared a lot of in-depth strategies about running Google Ads. So, Mark, is it primarily for your external traffic? Is it 100% through Google, or are you doing Pinterest,
not 100%.
Facebook?
Exactly. So it's not 100%, but I would say it's over 50% because it works and it's not saturated. It's not like everyone's just doing it. Like, back in the day, people did many chat bots. So it's not that idea. It's not like that, shady or cheap traffic. It's real, pure traffic from outside and from Google, which is converts well. So it's good for ranking and it's also good for organic sales as well. So that's why I really like it. But other ones are, so another thing I spoke about is Pinterest traffic. And I also spoke about this like around a year and a half, 2 years ago. And people looked at me like I'm bonkers. Like, what are you talking about? Pinterest is like where you go for you want to make like a bridal shower and you get some ideas, no link to Pinterest, but it's underrated. And after I spoke about it, people really started implementing and saying that the ads there are really, really cheap, especially compared to Facebook and Instagram. So it's really cheap ads and the traffic is really high and good quality traffic, and Amazon likes it. So people started doing Pinterest ads and also getting bloggers to write Pinterest posts about your product, which is evergreen because it's always going to stay there. It's not like an ad that once you run out of your budget, it's not there anymore. Yeah,
I like that idea about using bloggers then that can write up about your product and then even link your product to Amazon then, correct?
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. So with the external traffic, what type of return on ad spend are you seeing there? And especially when you're first launching a product, are you just considering, hey, our ACoS might be 200% here, but we know it's going to be worth it? Or, are you actually seeing profitability on the front end from some of those ads?
So I spoke to someone about this literally the other day, and I told them that I don't even look at any of that data, which I know it sounds a little interesting, but I'm not doing it for the organic sales. I'm doing it because I know Amazon's looking for outside traffic. And for me, it's, hey, I'm spending $500 and I'm getting the outside traffic. I'm not looking like how many sales did it bring me. A lot of times I won't even connect the attributions together, which really sounds crazy because I just want that traffic. And if it's easier to just set up an account and get the Google ads and just drive the traffic right away and I could do it, I'll do it because I know the value of it. And it's really important rather than, obviously, yes, set up the attributions and all that kind of stuff. But I'm just proving my point that it's important, and I don't even look at that kind of data specifically because I'm just using it more for the traffic rather than the sales and how they convert. But long term, I would definitely.
So you don't really care about the conversion rate at all from the external traffic. And I think I've heard from other people that Amazon looks at external traffic and your conversion rate there completely separately. It doesn't get factored into your Amazon ranking per se.
You said it very well, and that's really what it is. And that's kind of where I try to explain to people that as long as you're getting that outside traffic, Amazon loves it. And also keep in mind, once these people go to Amazon, you know why they love it so much? Because they get to retarget the heavens out of them and you go purchase other products, and Amazon's just getting free leads at that point. You know what I mean? So that's where they really, really love it, because once they go on their website, they accept the cookies, they're going to be retargeted at like no tomorrow. So
that's very true. So Amazon can do the retargeting for you, which I think is an important aspect.
Exactly. That's a whole nother discussion and ball game. But yeah, that's kind of that's what they do.
Yep. With that, then, so when you're driving external traffic, do you try to drive them to the detail page, or do you end up creating a kind of a detail page on your storefront so that you're able to remove competitors and it's just your own storefront. I know when I talked to Tyler Gregg at Amped, he had kind of recommended like recreating the detail page, but on your own store page so that it's all 100% yours. But from your experience, do you recommend one or the other?
So for sales, I would do that option that you just said. And I spoke with him about it actually. And I also saw that they started speaking more about that idea. I think that's a really good idea. So that way they don't get distracted and buy anyone else. But I would say that's more like whenever you're focusing on organic sales, I would do that idea. But whenever we're doing the outside traffic, it's as long as even just getting to your product detail page from Google, there's so much power there, then that's what we're looking for. But yes, for a long-term goal and strategy, I would do removing all the competitors and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Interesting. Awesome. Great feedback. All right, Mark, that was a ton of value. Thanks for walking us through launching a product. Let's spend a little bit of time on how do you re-rank a product that's been around for 2 to 3 years, right? Maybe it started out really good. It was ranked on the first page consistently, but now over time, competitions came in. Maybe the brand owner hasn't paid a lot of attention to that product. What are some of the steps a seller should be taking to revitalize, resurrect a dead ASIN, so to speak?
There's so much that goes involved into that. So, for example, there's one thing that you can do. Like, so let's say you have an ASIN, and this is more of like it died but early, where let's say you have like negative reviews, but you have like 2,000 pieces in stock, or like let's say you have problems with it, we still have a whole bunch of stock, and you don't want to do a removal order. There is a tool or a company called ASINDoctor.com or ASINDoctor, whatever. And what they do is something pretty interesting, pretty cool. They will transfer your inventory within Amazon from listing A to listing B. So you'll make a new listing, and then you'll shut your first listing down, and then they transfer all your inventory to a new listing, and it removes all the reviews, it removes all the BSR, it removes all the listing content. So you have a brand new fresh listing with your full inventory in stock in FBA without having to create a removal order or relabel any products.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's been pretty big because a lot of people got like infringements, or they got a whole bunch of negative reviews even from their competitor, and they just launched, and so that they found that tool really helpful. When it comes to relaunching a product at 2 or 3 years old, it's doable, but very, very hard. So I would basically say, in short, that all the strategies I mentioned with outside traffic and sales and promotions, doing that times 2, like on steroids, really going all at it. Obviously not overnight. You didn't sell. Yeah. You sold like 10 pieces a day for the past couple of years, and then all of a sudden you're doing 50 or 100. Don't do that. Start it off slow, but ramp it up where you're going to be doing a lot more outside traffic, and you're going to be seeing a lot more success there. Another thing that you can unofficially do, which I'm going to say for your listeners because they will understand this a little bit better, is that you can make a duplicate listing on Amazon of the same exact product. You're going to copy the title, bullet points, description, all the backing keywords, the main image, infographics, basically an exact duplicate with a new UPC. You're going to wait a little bit, and then you're going to create a case with Amazon to merge the new product, the old product into the new product, right? So you're going to merge those two products together. Mm-hmm. Then what happens? Amazon views that ASIN as a brand new ASIN within their system. You get the honeymoon. But since you merge it together, you keep all your reviews. So it's really gaining that honeymoon period, and kind of gaining everything from scratch again. And your inventory is also still there. But in Amazon system, this is a brand new ASIN. So this has been a real big hack. I know a lot of people started using this more recently, so you have to really push with Amazon's customer support to do that merge for you, but it works.
Yeah. No, I've heard of that one as well. These are some great actionable tips and strategies that people can implement. So would you ever recommend then just kind of like if your product is 2 to 3 years old, it's probably best just to start possibly with a fresh listing, especially if maybe it's been a 4-star product and there's a way that you could possibly, correct some of those negative reviews. Is it best to just say, hey, we're going to relaunch this thing with the new ASIN, even starting over from scratch with 0 reviews? Is that something you would recommend, or not so much? Like it's better to keep the reviews.
So if it's a 4-star product but leaning towards 3.7, then I would do something like that. But if it's like a 4-star product, it just needs a little bit of help. I wouldn't completely reset it, to be honest with you. Speaking about reviews, there has been a software that's been really cool, and they're not even public yet, but I've been involved with consulting with them and helping them out to kind of bring it to life. It's a really, really cool software that's unheard of, and no one has such a thing as far as I know. What they did was they created an AI, right? They created like a software machine learning where they fed this AI all the Amazon terms of services. So and then what happens? They would basically scrape your ASIN and download all your reviews and all the content. They would then upload this to the AI, and then the AI basically, you ask and say, which reviews are against the Amazon terms of services. It would come and spit back and saying, based on our knowledge of the Amazon terms of services, X amount of these reviews, these 100 reviews, are all against Amazon terms of services. This is why, and this is how you can get it. So then what they'll do is they'll make a case with Amazon and say, hey, this review goes against this terms of service, and this is why. Please remove the review. And they can actually get reviews removed that way, which is literally insane. And the crazy part is that as the more reviews they remove, the AI gets stronger with the data and knowing, hey, Amazon accepted this reason, but not this reason. It's been a really, really cool software, which really it's not even public. Like if you go on their website, like nothing's there.
Yeah.
But I've been involved with them, and it's really, really cool. And I can share that with your podcast as well.
I think it's just an email address, right? Because I think I heard that on the.
So you saw on the so that was So if you email them, you can get in touch with them. That's the only way. I know that they're really picky on who they're accepting to be part of their first round because you need a nice amount of reviews in order to get results. And B, they want to show you results. So that's been I know. So this is why it's more relevant to your audience because you need a lot of. I think you need a minimum of 500 reviews, not on one ASIN, just across all your ASINs in total, which is very easy. For hero products and whatnot. So as long as you have 500 reviews across all your ASINs in total, then I think that they would be open to working with you and kind of giving you access to this, which is really, really cool, unheard of. I told them, I'm like, you really need to like push your minimum quantity to much less because you're not going to get any attractive people. But they kind of know the power of what they have, and they really want to build it up before they bring it out to the public. So that's a really, really cool thing that I really stand behind, and I've seen my clients use it with success. So I'm happy about that.
That's great to hear. Can we share that email on the podcast then?
For your audience, that they understand the value, A, and B, that they could fit that criteria much easier. I think that would make sense.
What's the email then, Mark?
Just a sec.
Yeah, while he looks that up. Yes, I have heard of this service as well. I learned about it at Sell and Scale. It was also on the Post Purchase Pro podcast just this last week that came out. So it was fresh on my mind as well. It's not a black magic or a black hat tactic per se. So you don't need to be worried about that.
I forgot to even mention that it's 100% white hat. Like it's not like shady ways and everything. Yeah. Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good. That's I think the important thing to state though is like this is all white hat, and that's one thing that's important to me. Like I want to go to sleep at night and not have to worry that when I wake up in the morning, Amazon's finally caught on to something I've been doing. And now my account's gone, right? So
exactly.
I think that's important to distinguish here. So, Mark, were you able to find that?
Yeah, I pulled up the email. So it's a funny name. It's very cute. So it's uglyfeedback.com. But if you go on the website, nothing's there. So you would have to email them at hi@uglyfeedback.com. That's what it is. And then I think you could, if they mention, probably they came from here or they know, so it's more of a legitimate kind of inquiry. But that would make sense. But that's something really cool and very new that no one has on the market yet.
That's fantastic. Mark, this has been amazing. You've shared a lot of knowledge with me. My mind's already expanded. I've got some notes, some takeaways for our team already. But Mark, what I like to do before we sign off and I ask you my 3 final questions that I like to ask everybody, I like to give my listeners, I like to kind of sum up what we learned today with 3 actionable strategies that people can go and implement in their business today. So here are the 3 takeaways that I noted, Mark. Let me know if I'm missing something. Number 1, when you're launching a new product, I think driving external traffic from multiple sources is going to be your key, especially in the world of 2023 that we're living in right now. You need to be able to obtain an audience that you've been able to develop, right? Like building an audience has probably got to be your action step number 1, to be honest with you. And if you need help with that, Kevin King's episode here on the podcast, you can go check that out. That was released on October 25th of 2022. You can go check out that episode. He talked a lot about, inserts and how to obtain a list off of Amazon. And then you also mentioned here on the podcast today, Mark, Post-Purchase Pro is a service that people could reach out to help them kind of formulate their product insert strategy, creating a mafia offer that people are excited to join your list. So I would say that's probably action step number 1 is you've got to build an audience. Action step number 2 is then kind of leveraging your audience, your shoppers list in combination with external traffic. And what I love, I think the big knowledge bomb that you dropped here for us today, Mark, is that you don't have to just use your shoppers list or your audience to just, run a promotion and say, hey, my product's 20% off, go buy it today. What you're doing is you're implementing surveys in coordination with that. So it's asking a little bit more from your audience. And I think you're only doing this with specific people, but you have them go through, do a survey. They're looking at the images, the videos, they're spending time on your listing, which is what Amazon wants to see. And then they're ultimately converting. And so it's providing a lot of ranking juice for you. And then outside of that, you're generating external traffic, and you're doing this over a prolonged period of time. I think long gone are the days, like you mentioned, of, hey, I'm going to drive a lot of traffic over the next 7 days, and then we're going to stay ranked here for the next forever, right? Like you're saying 30 days and beyond, and some of your clients are doing it for 180 days, correct?
Yeah, exactly.
And then I would say our third takeaway is that if you have an old product, an old listing that maybe needs a little bit more life rejuvenated into it, Mark shared a lot of different actions that you can take. You could utilize the service of ASIN Doctor to kind of merge that into a brand new ASIN. You could also create or duplicate that ASIN and go through seller support to kind of merge that as well and experience a new honeymoon period. Or if your reviews are, 3.7 or below, it might be time to reconsider just relaunching from scratch. But with revitalizing an older product, you need to double your efforts compared to, a new product that you've just launched. So I think that's great feedback that everybody should take away from this. And then we also talked about, using that new feedback service or review service that can help you remove those reviews that customers leave that are against terms of service because they're including, maybe it's foul language. Maybe they're talking about, things that they can't be talking about in that review. And that AI will find those for you, help you open up cases and get those reviews removed. Mark, is that a fair summary of our conversation today?
A very short summary, yes. Spoke about a lot of things today.
We did. You shared a lot of knowledge, so I appreciate that. Mark, let's get into the final questions here. What's been the most influential book for you and why?
So I'm not even much of a reader, but Never Split the Difference was something that someone recommended me. And it was actually one of my clients who were doing the large numbers. And he said that this is something you have to read. And I really, I'm not a reader for books. It's not me, I read it and it just opens your mind to think different ways. So that was interesting.
Awesome. That I have not read that one personally, but I'll have to add that to the list.
Yeah, add it to your list.
What is your favorite productivity tool or resource, and why?
I'm just trying to think, because there's so many tools out there that you can possibly, possibly utilize and use. I mean, I know this is like kind of like a classic one, but any task management tool where you can kind of have everything in front of you is very good. But I'm going to go, and you're really not going to expect this answer, but my paper and pen, at the end of the day, I feel like that's my favorite tool, because I could just write it down, and I'm like old fashioned like that. Like I literally, like I could show you, like I have all my things on like a simple paper and pad, and I have it in front of me. I'm organized, and I like it that way. So yeah, task management tools are good, but I honestly use paper and pen. So it's a little bit of a different answer, but that's the truth.
Hey, I love it. To each their own. And I've been taking a lot of notes with pen and paper here today.
Yeah, exactly.
Last question. Who is someone that you admire or respect the most in the e-commerce space that our listeners should be paying attention to and following?
There are so many people. I'm scared if I say one and not the other, because there really are a lot of people out there who could provide very good information. On top of my mind, I mean, I really I recommend a lot of people. Like, I think Kevin King comes to my mind real quick, because he really caters to all audiences of people who are just starting out and people who are literally doing 8 figures on Amazon. So I respected him a lot, and I still do, because he was able to cater to that. And anytime I have people knocking on my door and saying, hey, I just want to sell on Amazon and whatnot, it's not, our ideal person who we work with. I say you definitely should check out Kevin King, because I think he has a lot to offer. He's very clear, and also no bogus. A lot of times, a lot of these people give you a course, and then you have to buy another $1,000 or $5,000 and all that kind of stuff. So I'm really not about that. I'm about the transparency. So I feel like that's a very important point.
Awesome. Yeah, I agree. Kevin King is a great resource. Again, we had him on the podcast previously as well. So guests should go check out that episode. Mark, today's conversation has been amazing. Tell us more about House of AMZ. What are the services that you offer? And tell, our audience how they could reach out to you. And I think you also have a special offer that you wanted to share with our audience.
For sure. So we do more like marketing and SEO. So all the listing creation, design, optimization, creative, like all that kind of stuff is what we do. We also help with like launching products with these rebates and everything that I mentioned in our very own way. So it's not like a copy and paste. We're really involved with every project and everything that we do. The special offer was, I think we gave 2, but I don't remember, but I will give 2. There's one that your first launch will be 50% off. So you can totally try and see what we're talking about in regards to launching your product is 50% off. And then if your listeners want to also optimize their listings, we will give them an extra 15% off of any package that we have as well.
Amazing. And where should people go to claim these offers or to reach out to you?
Yeah, for sure. Very simple. It's very easy to remember. AmazonSEO.com.
It can't get any more simple than that.
Exactly. That's what we do. And yeah, so you can find us there. We're also on LinkedIn, but we are House of AMZ.
Awesome. Mark, thanks so much for your time today. I definitely encourage our listeners to go check you out, but thanks for joining me on the podcast.
Thank you. Yeah, for sure. It was great being here today.
Thank you for listening. Visit ecommbreakthrough.com for more information. If you've enjoyed today's episode, the best way you can show your appreciation is by clicking the subscribe button and quickly leaving a review. See you again next time.